protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people, Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices, Rams is always here. You want your loyalty, Rams is always here. We are community, we are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Carifesta is the whole region looking good, and the whole road is rerun with. It's in the way we walk, it's the way we talk, it's the way we move. We ready for the world, and when we step out and pose just so, it's pure style and fashion. Look away! Come for Carifesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/Carifesta.
And welcome back. The time is approximately 6 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. And welcome to Voices. It's rather interesting, how on some days I move from one program right into another. And, well, what can I say? Thank you for being there, as always. Without you, there would be no us. It is always good to have you there to interact, to bring your views to the fore. So I'm going to go straight to the phone lines without delay. Hello, good day.
Yes, hello, Quint, it's me again.
Yes.
Yes. First of all, well, I think I made an error in what I said in your previous program. I said that I think I said UNESCO had did a study here in St. Kitts, and based upon the study, malnutrition was very high here, and it was in the 70s, but it was from the 60s to the 80s really. But I don't think it was UNESCO. Thinking about it, I don't think it was UNESCO. I think it was UNICEF who did that study rather than UNESCO. What I believe is really happening, and based upon my studies and readings and that sort of stuff, I believe more than the food and so that we are eating. And I'm not saying the food ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm not saying that at all. But I believe the biggest culprit right now that have people falling down with a lot of sicknesses and diseases and so is the COVID vaccine that people got. Based upon studies and so that have been done right now, it is showing that it is very much connected with a lot of illnesses that a lot of people are coming down with and falling down with, including some cancers now they call turbo cancers, corona, people who work with dead people in funeral homes. They call them coroners. Yes. They said they are seeing a lot more blood clots now, far more blood clots now in people corpses than before, and that sort of stuff since the COVID vaccine. And so I really think the biggest culprit right now that got people falling down, coming with a lot of sicknesses and so on right now is really the COVID vaccine. I think others come a fast second and third behind the COVID vaccine. And I said I'm basing that on what I'm reading, coming across, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
No, concerning the U.S. and drugs running and that sort of stuff, there is a lady who wrote a book, and her name is Dr. Mary Ruwart, Ruwart, Mary Ruwart. She wrote some books, but one of them is called Healing Our World. You can get it on Amazon. And she said in that book, the CIA, I think she even said, the CIA is the biggest drug runner, drug traffickers right now around the world. And a lot of drugs that are in a lot of countries, the CIA is, well, not 100%, but to a very good percentage is responsible for a lot of drugs in a lot of countries around the world due to their drug trafficking. And the reason why the CIA do this drug trafficking is because a lot of the money that they want from Congress, they're not getting. And so they're turning to the drug trafficking to make a lot of money so that they could do their covert activities. So when you see the CIA accusing people of running drugs and that sort of stuff, which may or may not be true, but even if it is true, they ain't really going after the people because they're running drugs, you know. Even if Maduro is doing it, even if, and I use the word if because there's a lot of propaganda the US does give out, the CIA does give out. But even if Maduro is running drugs, they ain't want to get rid of Maduro because he's running drugs, you know, and going in the US. They really want to get rid of him because they want to get rid of the competition. That's what a lot of people do not realize. Of course, they cannot say like that. They cannot put it like that.
You think people don't realize? People realize.
Most people don't realize.
Most
people don't realize.
Most people realize, Greg, but because of the intimidation factor that the U.S. poses, most people are silent and prefer to remain silent, but they're not ignorant. Go ahead.
And also remember, the same CIA put a lot of drugs in the black community in America too, no?
Well, that is a historical fact. That is something that cannot be denied because it is historically documented.
Okay, so So I would just like to tell people, even if, and like I said, I take it with a grain of salt because of the propaganda of the US and that sort of stuff. But I'm saying, even if Madu is running drugs, trust me, they ain't going after him because he running drugs and drugs going to the US because the CIA put drugs in the US. So they're really going after him to eliminate the competition so they could have a bigger market for the drugs running, to get money to do the covert operations all over the world, because that is where a lot of the finances come from the drug trafficking to do the covert operations around the world. The CIA is the worst criminal organization and terrorist organization that is in the world.
You should say it. You should say it is alleged, though. I don't like you just saying it straight out like that.
Okay. I would say it is alleged.
Yes.
I believe based upon what I read and that sort of stuff, I believe I could take out the word alleged, but for the program's sake, I will use the word alleged.
Even though there are some, like I said, some documented aspects, especially in relation to the infiltration, the putting of drugs in black communities, when we're speaking on a wider range, because we don't always have the facts, it is better to say, you can say you quote this from a documentation, but you should also say, as far as the documentation from this book says, it is alleged that so and so and so.
Yes. And let it also be said to it, they use U.S. aid and so on as part of their tools and instruments to do their covert operations around the world too. So sometimes they do it directly, sometimes they do it indirectly through U.S. aid and other U.S. organizations. But I would just tell people, try and get the book Healing Our World by Mary Ruwart, and Ruwart is Ruwart, and you would read about a lot of these things in her book. She got very in depth.
Okay.
And you could get them off of Amazon. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to play a clip as I sort of, try to wrap my mind around what is happening in our region and around the globe, and where some individuals choose to be aggressive where it doesn't seem to be necessary, and very, very silent and passive when it seems to be that this is vitally necessary. Well, before I play that clip, let me go to the phone lines. Hello. I always give the phone lines preference. So go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Quinn, good morning again. I'm Quinn. Just where Africa was talking about is the gospel truth. Just where Africa was talking about is the gospel truth. And I want to tell you, Quinn, that all what you see going on around here, our weak politicians then. Now look at Kamala Prasad. She ain't even let the thing soak in about 4 weeks, she don't jump to it. You can't do that. You gotta get the facts. We cannot do that. Venezuela is in the Caribbean, it's all of us conducting. Let Trump go start the war in America. Choose a state. Let him choose a state. But it's going to be very interesting to see the stand of these Caribbean leaders, especially these young ones in the Caribbean. And Gwen, I want to tell you, all what you see happening in lands around us think it's Nevis. That was put there by Denzel. That nasty arrangement is over by the Christoph. That's where it's coming from, For others feel they could do the nonsense and get away. But I'm warning them, when you see that document hit the street, poor people gonna understand it. Who is it gonna get a 6%? Who gonna get a 6? Who state gonna get a 6%? And after the 500 acres of land, them guys playing with the future. When this year I watched the kids march, and up to now our leaders them ain't conscious enough that they're gonna start buckle up and understand this is future generation that are protecting us. But if them protect them with Because if they think we gonna just sit down and allow them to come millionaire after dirty money, they lie. Have a good morning, my brother Quinn.
Okay. Let me take a bit of a commercial break, and when I get back, if there's no call on the line, I'll play that clip.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Rams the good food people always there to serve you. Rams the good food people locations right near you. Rams the good food people in store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. We want your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Carifesta is the whole region looking good, and the whole road is rerun with. It's in the way we walk, it's the way we talk, it's the way we move. We ready for the world, and when we step out and pose just so, it's pure style and fashion. Look away! Come for Carifesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/Carifesta.
If you need protection, you'll need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you'll need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
And welcome back. The time is approximately 10 minutes moving away, 20 minutes, sorry. 20 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. Welcome back to Voices. I'm going to take a bit of a different, well, okay, I see the phone lighting up here. So, hello, caller.
Hi, Quint, I'm back.
Yes.
Before you crossed over to the Voices program, where you was at Island T, you put something out there in terms of a comparative analysis with the Maduro, the Venezuela, as a more, by far, a peaceful nation, and what would be the rationale to wanting to really attempt to do regime change.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot of what has been bandied about.
Yes.
As opposed to the state of Israel, the Zionist regime under Benjamin Netanyahu. And why won't a democracy like the United States do something towards the genocide, as we have seen a resignation in the Hague, I think it's the Hague, in Holland, of a very acclaimed minister who's complained and said, well, you know, the administration, he could not get the administration to do certain things that, you know, would have able to let Israel know that, you know, I mean, this thing cannot continue under our watch.
Yeah.
At long last, some nations are finally waking up. Their conscience is probably ministers, because when South Africa brought the case against Israel, South Africa would have had ample reason to do that, because they have lived an apartheid environment where South Africa was an apartheid state. The whole world now. Our cricketers, some cricketers decided to go, some decided no. They're going to show solidarity. But long story short, was JFK and the files. There are some what we call documents, some files that are considered to be, what the word I'm looking for? Classified. And after whatever, 5, 10 years, what have you, certain administration will decide to release these files. The files on the JFK, because even before the release of certain files, some information normally will get out. Some people will have some information, some inside information, and it will get leaked. You have heard about, you know, that man who ran to Russia and got asylum, those guys who had this classified information, but it is said that Donald Trump, with some files, the esteem file, one of his good friends, a businessman, Israel, the esteem man, Jeffrey Esteem, was a Mossad agent. He worked for Israel. And no doubt Israel would have had those files. Some of the files that Donald Trump intended to release are being doctored. So even when they release these files, the Epstein files, because the Senate, the Congress, they have tough debate in the House and Congress to release these files. But one of the things is to say, well, should we release these files and release the names of the victims? Because they are victims. They are victims of underage women, underage girls back then, who has become of age now, and they are victims. And for whatever the trauma and everything is like, it would not be right to rub salt into their womb. So the files should be released, but to be more palatable, not to include the victim's name, because you're going to rehash a pain that is so gruesome to these people. That is agreed on. But not only that, the Trump administration wants to go beyond and doctor some of the files, so that when the files are being released, Donald Trump's name may not be so prevalent.
Africa, I want when you're making certain statements, say it is alleged, because, you know, when you make it, say it the way you're saying it as if though we're sure that this is a fact. So when you say that, for instance, it is alleged that Donald Trump wants to doctor this, you know, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for the correction. It is alleged, and it is alleged that this information that I'm bringing here, because I'm not a part of the U.S., I'm not in the U.S., has been gleaned from all of the other people who listen to these radio talk shows, these analysts. So yes, it has been alleged from the analysts and those people who are in the know to say, yes, these files, they agree that these files should be released, but it is alleged that Donald Trump's name would not play the pivotal role that his name, him, the man, would have played when he was bosom friend of Jeffrey Epstein. But Israel, it is alleged also that Israel have these documents also, and it is alleged that maybe even Russia have them. So there's going to be a comparative analysis as what the allegation of what would be doctored, comparing to these things. So Donald Trump owes Netanyahu a great gratitude.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay?
Yeah.
He owes the man so much of a gratitude that he would not dare. He would choose to pick fight with anybody else as opposed to using his diplomatic know-how to really done the war with the Palestinian and Israel. Okay? But
Yeah.
bringing it back home here, yes, as our democracies and we exercising our diplomatic franchise and bringing about a change in administration, different administration will take different stands from time to time. So it is not a surprise if the former administration under Dr. Riley from Trinidad and Tobago have taken had taken a stance as opposed to the new administration under Kamala Persad-Bissessar would take a different stance in terms of geopolitics and where they would side. This will happen. But I'm a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. I will really want to know what stance my prime minister would take. It is an unalienable right for me as a citizen who exercise my franchise to vote. Would like to know what stance my prime minister takes. I know in certain circles, maybe in the UN, people they vote or they abstain, and we may not know who vote what or where or who might have abstained from certain things. But I would like to know when it comes to certain matter in St. Kitts and Nevis, I would like to know where my prime minister stands. Where he speaks for the country. Even though I will have a right, if we vote differently according to what I don't agree with, I will have all rights to speak about it as an individual. But generally speaking, I would like to know where these votes lie, where they stand.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
And you're most welcome. Let me see. I was going to play a particular clip, but I'm going to change it and play this one. I have a various number of clips that I will play depending on the gist of the conversation. So I'm going to play this one.
I support the right of self-defense without any doubt. I would be involved myself in violent resistance if I were a citizen of Palestine.
And I'm going to take that from the top and say that the voice that you're hearing is an American citizen, and he's speaking in relation to what is happening in the so-called Middle East, and his stance, again, Caucasian American citizen. This is what he has to say.
I support the right of self-defense without any doubt. I would be involved myself in violent resistance if I were a citizen of Palestine or Iraq or Afghanistan.
Hamas doesn't recognize the right of Israel to exist.
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like the African National Congress and Nelson Mandela refusing to accept apartheid and recognize apartheid. And if I were a citizen of the United States or Britain and someone from halfway around the world came into my country and started stealing my land and killing my family, guess what? I would defend my country as well. So I absolutely 100% defend the right of self-defense, and I will never shy away from that. I will not join the long list of embarrassments who condemn terrorism while forgetting to acknowledge that the biggest terrorist on the planet is the United States government.
Well, that was an American citizen and a Caucasian one at that. Hello, caller. Do have some patience when you call, because I just saw it lighting up. I don't understand how I could just see it lighting up, press the button, and you're not there. So yeah, the United States in a peaceful zone is inserting itself. For what reason? This could only escalate. So, yeah, rather interesting. Hello, caller.
Yes, Quint.
I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Yes, Quint. You know, this morning earlier I spoke about black waters went into Haiti and...
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You know, Quint, we have a group of people who take pleasure in analyzing people. And my concern is really looking at this group of men, 200 men, private military base that was sent into Haiti to bring peace. Now, Haiti is a black country. And the history that I've come across doing my research pertaining to black water, Quinn, these men take pleasure in analyzing black people, and especially within the administration that sent them there. I'm talking about the leader of America.
Journey, I'm going to let you make your statement, but I'm just going to let you know that while you're speaking, there's another caller online waiting to interject. I don't know if you might want to make your statement and then let them say.
I'll try to be brief, Quinn.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, the Bible guy that called in shortly after me says that one of the reasons why we are encountering all that we're kind because we have disobeyed. We have disobeyed. Quint, we are looking at people who shed blood, people that take lives. Now, to the caller's point that we are experiencing what we're experiencing because we have disobeyed. We have not gone the Bible way. But the very Bible is a book of blood. Because if we have to look at all that we know from this book, from its inception, it is a book of sacrifice and blood. Now, does the book apply to those who have wrote the book and those who are committing the killing of, let me say, my people, Quint? Does the book apply to them? Because again, I said, Quint, they gave us in the book all the thou shalt not. Kill, steal, hate. And look at where we are today, Quint. Look at where we are. Who is doing the killing? Yes, we are killing ourselves now. But we can rectify that, Quint. We can fix that. We have to be redeemed and restored. We have to fix ourselves first. But these people that is in Haiti, they take pleasure in knowing that they're unaliving my brothers and sisters in Haiti. Friend, we need to wake up to this, This is a clear and present danger that it's not even sneaking up on us anymore. It is at our doorstep. And our leaders need to let their voice be heard. Haiti is Africans and we are connected. We are one people, Quint. And our leaders need to let their voice be heard. This, other callers have mentioned what is taking place in Venezuela. I mean, is it tragedy? Does our leaders question these moves? I'll leave it there, Quint. Let the others think about it.
Okay, thanks for your input. To the other caller, thanks for your patience. You may now make your statement.
Yes, Quint. Interestingly enough, I was just listening to a clip from elsewhere where someone in Africa was calling on other African leaders to be more introspective and critique each other. And because I guess it was obvious that despite all the meetings and so on that they have, and this was at one such meeting of African leaders, where one got up and said, they don't criticize each other. They don't peer review. I think that was the term used.
Yeah.
Each other. Okay? So they know that some of them deal in corrupt practices. They know that some of their policies are not beneficial to their people. They know that some of them pander to outside interests. But he said they were afraid, that's the word he used, afraid to peer review each other, to tell each other to their faces that what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And that is so in the Caribbean as well.
Yes. Yeah.
You'll see them go to these meetings, have all kinds of photo ops, etc., etc., and then talk around the issues instead of dealing directly with the problem. That is why we have things like the kind of hand wringing that we have on problems like Haiti or Venezuela and other issues in the Caribbean, where you have leaders, and you would have thought by now that all of them would have been able to speak with one voice when it comes to outsiders coming in. But they don't. Now you have, and I was mentioning, what's her name? Kamala
Fasad.
Right. Saying now, basically outlining Trinidad's position. Basically, she is prepared to let Trinidad be used as a base for the U.S. if they're attacking Venezuela. Okay.
Could you imagine that? These people don't seem to understand the ongoing repercussions of. You think when America history has shown when America puts a base there, you know what it takes to get that base out of there?
They don't have a sense of history. A lot of these leaders around here, they're not conscious. It's like they were born yesterday and didn't read any history, don't know their roots, don't know the whole geopolitics thing. I mean, somebody mentioned, I think, earlier that they should have people, even if they don't know, they should have people in their administrations who know the history behind the issues.
Yeah.
Okay? And don't just get up and just deal with the fluff of the matter. Make big, thorough speeches, and that's it. You know, they're too shallow. I honestly find the leadership in the region is far too shallow. Nobody willing to take a stand on principle for anything. Kamala now saying, well, this is Trinidad's position. The rest of CARICOM can express their position as well.
And imagine
instead of saying that, let's have a common position.
That's what I was going to say. Imagine you just up on your own. This is why we can never have unification, because when it is convenient for leaders, they just jump up without any sort of conversation and make decisions and then say, well, the rest can do what they want.
Right. And or in some cases they say, well, I was elected to lead by my people to lead, and so I'm leading. And forget about any kind of consultation with the people. They'll say that, well, if I consult with the people on every issue, I wouldn't get any work done. That's a favorite comment that they make. Of course, we don't expect consultation on every issue. But certainly on critical issues, we do expect consultation.
Yeah.
We do expect consultation if you're going to take large swaths of our land and essentially farm it out to foreigners. You think we want another Jim Jones or what do you call it, in Jonestown in our countries, or Waco, Texas, where some commune people just have this place that they do what they want, essentially, and next thing you know, we got a big problem on our hands.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
And not only
these leaders seem to just want to walk into everything with their eyes closed.
Not only that, when you allow a base to come in your country, or as is proposed over there on the island of Nevis, an enclave, when anything happens, the country that they are aligned with, no matter that they say they have our citizenship, that is not the dominant factor as far as they are concerned, where citizen is concerned. So when they have an enclave here and something happens in your country, nothing to do with them, mind you, but their external government forces find it convenient to say, we're looking after the interests of our people.
Yes, yes, they did it in Grenada.
That's it.
Right? You know, that's always the excuse. You know, they use, well, we have to secure our citizens.
Yeah.
Okay. And it never fails.
It never failed. It has not failed.
And that is why I said we need to pay more attention to who we elect for leaders. Right? Stop this electing people because you like them, or they're flamboyant,
Or they promise you exorbitant sums of money.
or they promise you make excessive promises.
Yeah.
It keeps happening, and we never learn. We keep going back doing the same things over and over again. And I don't think it's a case where the leaders don't know no better, you know. But it's just that they say, oh, well, they elect us. This is what people want.
Yeah.
Okay? So we give them what they want. We behave how they want. They laugh and have a good time. You know, and they run big circles.
Let's look at what happened. Let's look at what happened in Grenada, because I remember I was a young person and I followed this intensely. You had this leader who overthrew a regime that was very, very notorious for its negative treatment of its citizens. He overthrew. As far as things were going in the country, it was a bloodless bloodless coup, and things were going fairly well in the country. But his mistake was that he reached out to the United States. You know, he actually reached out to the United States and asked for assistance in setting up certain institutions and so forth in his country so that they could move along, advance along more amicably in a better vein. And Ronald Reagan was the president at the time. Here's what Ronald Reagan's statement was: we do not negotiate or have anything to do with people who have overthrown legitimate government. That was his statement. But then in the latter part of Ronald Reagan's career, when he was in court, then it came out that he had used the very same CIA to ship drugs from certain places to other places to finance the overthrow of the Sandinistans government. Mind you, he said he didn't want to deal with the Grenadian leader who has overthrown because he had overthrown, but he was now using finances to overthrow a legitimate government and using the finances that was garnered from this drug thing to bring drugs into the inner cities in the United States of America. You imagine that? This is the history, you know.
The thing is, the United States has never been shy to use whether covert or overt ways to secure what they consider their interests.
That's it.
They've never been shy of that.
And again,
and now,
their interests.
And now it's worse so because you have a president who outright, he makes statements outright as to
taking over and taking over and
they want to be a colonial power again.
Yeah.
You know, taking over whether it's Greenland or wherever else.
Canada.
You know? Yeah. You know, they make no bones about it, right? And you know, that can't be in the long-term interest.
I made that statement because I wanted the younger people to be aware of the historical trend of putting it in inverted commas when they have to protect their interests, what they will do.
Quinn,
yes.
Do you have confidence in the young people of today? In their, do you think they would be really interested in those matters?
if they are enlightened, and again, that will be determined by their life circumstances. It could go either way. For instance, if they are not enlightened and they continue to live in this world where they feel it is all about materialism, then we won't see that for a long time. But if it is that they are subjected to a knowledge of their history, and where their potential, where they can go, and the circumstances of their life is not too comfortable, which it isn't right now, then they will make the appropriate change. But as long as their life remains comfortable and they're in that comfortable state, then it would not work out to be positive. But we're all, remember, you were a young person yesterday. I was a young person yesterday. When I say yesterday, I mean in the past.
Right.
I often say,
compare how we grew up, okay? The things that we were paying attention to when we were their ages, let's say. Do you really see that education on things like our history, our culture, our consciousness?
it is lacking.
At least when we were growing up, right? At least when we were growing up. We had movements like the Black Power movement.
Yeah, Black Power movement.
You know, there was, right.
And even though the Black Power movement...
Do you have those movements? You don't have those?
No.
We had the clear-cut case of apartheid in South Africa and the revolutionary movements in Africa.
Yes.
And those were prominent, and those were things that we identified with. We had the music of the day, being like Peter Tosh and
Bob Marley
Marley and those protests.
Jimmy Cliff and all those
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we have now.
But here's what we
do we have a Che Guevara or one of those revolutionaries? Here's what
we have. Here's what we have. We have the internet, and you'll be surprised. I've been walking all my life because I never did learn to drive. And there's a benefit to walking, not only for health purposes, but when you walk, it's kind of like you interact with people. And when I walk, you'd be surprised the number of young people I pass recently, let's say in a matter of the last year and a half, that I'm passing, and I'm hearing them playing certain things from the internet that I'm familiar with, certain bits of history about places in Africa, history about black identity, history about the history that they have chosen to suppress. You'll be surprised. And then the question that you asked, we have the leader in Burkina Faso. You see what he has done, not only in Africa, but look, I've heard songs done by artists in the United States of America and around the world contributing and saying, save the leader of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré. You see what he has done has instilled in the young people across Africa. So I have hope. I'm not a prophet. I can't say yea or nay, but it's left to be seen.
Well, let's hope you're right, because at the same time, you also see the what really seems to excite the youth right now is less serious stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lots of fetting, lots of
But there's a mistake that we make, Mr. McMahon. There's a mistake that we make, and here's the mistake that we make. We forget that these people, these young people, as long as they are allowed to live, this is why we don't want them taking each other's life so prematurely. But as long as they are allowed to live, because of the energy that they exude, they get bored quickly. They get bored. They get bored of even they're getting bored of even their own repetitive music. So they begin to search here. They listen to this, and as they mature, and they're asking themselves questions. Even some of those who you see with their pants down, hanging down across their bottoms, they're asking questions. They're asking themselves questions. They're looking around for answers. And gradually, as long as they're allowed to live, they're coming to different conclusions. And they're saying, is this what life is all about? Isn't there better?
Right.
They're asking one another. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, that is true. I mean, interestingly enough, too, I saw a report that said that this generation seemed to be turning away from the drug culture
Yeah.
and the right of the past.
Yeah.
Okay, the clubbing and that kind of thing. And they were wondering if that's a permanent feature or just a generational thing where every generation, new generation that comes along, rejects the generation before.
Yes.
The values of the generation before.
Yeah.
You know? But it's interesting that whereas in the past, when they did that, it was usually in a negative direction in terms of the
As a
harm
matter of
themselves.
rebellion, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas now it seems that they're becoming more conservative.
Yes.
So that's an interesting phenomenon to watch. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Because and you know where we will see it express itself, manifest itself.
Where?
When there is there's going to be a backlash against things like the kind of costumes and so on we have
Yes.
in Carnival.
Yeah.
Okay? They're acceptable now, but at some point, as they get skimpier and skimpier,
Yeah.
I think there will eventually be a backlash.
Yes.
And not by older folks,
Yes.
but by young people themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I suspect that is what's going to be coming on the horizon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So and the key here is to allow them to live. Maybe that is why there has been that external input of guns and ammunition and drugs, so that they can live this fast life, live fast, die young. But as long as they're allowed to live, they go through change. They go through a metamorphosis.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Well, yeah, I mean, at some point, even things like that is why I was always hopeful that this gun problem that we had, and gang problem, would eventually wear itself out.
And here's to strengthen your point. That's a good point, because remember, it was those who were involved in that same gang culture who reached out to the establishment and said, we had enough of this.
We had enough of this.
We're dying too fast, and we're seeing our friends die. So yeah, they're the ones who are going to make the change because of their life circumstances, and they're being able to observe whether it is in their interest or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is hope still, but in the meantime, thousands of Palestinians dying.
Yeah, that's the sad
Lots
thing.
of suffering. There's going to be lots of suffering.
Yeah.
There's going to be more wars, more saber rattling, and somehow we got to navigate through all of that. But
That's it.
one of the things we definitely can do is get better leaders, man.
Yeah. That is a key.
These are far too wishy-washy.
That is a key. That statement of getting better leaders is one of the big things that could spur the youth on. If we get leaders who would say, look, our educational curriculum needs to be changed, where it places more emphasis on our history, where we came from, why are we here today? Is it us, or is it because of external influence? As long as our leaders do that, as long as our leaders say one of the main things we have to do as a Caribbean region is to get back to where we can feed ourselves, as long as our leaders move in this vein, it would buttress the strength of the youth and the ambition of the youth and motivate them to move in positive direction. So you're right. It's all about leadership.
And well, not so much. You notice that they all talk the talk, eh?
Well,
It, it,
but
that,
we're
that's
not
why I say
speaking.
it isn't that
We're
they
not.
don't know any better. You
We're
know.
not speaking
They
about
they
just.
all talk the talk.
We're not
But
just
get them
speaking.
to walk the walk is something else.
That's it.
Or
When
walk the talk is
Mr.
something else.
McMahon, we're not just speaking about rhetorical expressions. We're speaking about actions. We're speaking about leaders who are going to, as you say, walk the walk. Who are young people can see they're doing things, opening the doorways for them to move forward, not just speaking. That for an evolving younger generation, when they realize that you're just speaking and it isn't benefiting them, they're going to turn against you and your regime eventually.
Yeah.
It has to work for them, you know. Don't kid yourself. They're not fools. They want to see it work for their benefit. But they must be allowed time to mature and to live, to be able to observe and see the significance of moving forward positively.
Yeah, I guess in other words, basically, they have to be able to make mistakes and learn from them.
That's it.
That's a really.
It's a
tough
hard
way.
one, but it's a real.
Yeah, because you'd think that since you have history,
Yeah.
that you'd learn from the history rather than repeat the lessons of history, you know.
Well, history has also shown that the young people, they usually learn from their own life experience. Yeah, you can tell them the history. I remember growing up as a very, very young boy when my great aunt said to me, "You see that fire?" Because when I remember when I first saw fire boiling on, moving onto a pot, how fantastic it looked to me, this orange and red and yellow thing.
You want to touch it.
And my aunt said to me, she said to me, "Go ahead, one of these days, I'm going to tell you, it's going to hurt if you put your finger in it, but one of these days you're going to find out." And she said that because she knew that with my kind of mind, I was going to put my finger in it. So to make a long story short, that is how young people are going to learn.
Right.
As
it's
you
a
said,
bit wasteful. It's a bit wasteful learning that way.
Yeah, but
maybe that's what it takes.
That's the only way.
You make mistakes.
The old people used to say, the young pig asked its mother, "Why is your mouth so long?" And the mother said, "Wait, you will find out."
But each generation really and truly should make it easier for the
next
succeeding one.
Yes.
You know, and so.
And it can happen, you know. It can happen. If we look at the American history, let's go back to the drug infiltration into the United States of America. Before some government regime decided to infiltrate the black communities with drugs, look at history before that and see what the black people were doing. Black people were always moving along, excelling. Black people segregated themselves from white people, built their own societies, communities, and advanced, and then the white people either flood them out, bomb them out, kill them, whatever, until the infiltration of drugs. When they infiltrated the black society with drugs, then the youths began to live in this euphoric state, and no one had the option to say, or the initiative or the impetus to say, well, we're going to make things better. Everyone wanted this quick high. So if it is that the young people are moving away from the drug culture, it is because they are again slowly beginning to realize this has been responsible for their biggest retardation, the biggest retardation of the black race.
And there is something to be said for, you know, the different phases of your teenager.
Yeah.
Thinking differently to when you're in your 20s,
That's
when you're in your 30s,
Yeah.
40s, etc.
Yeah.
So yes, you know, shall we just leave it to nature though, or try to at least create some shortcuts for them? So that
We
don't
can try.
Make the mistakes. Make the mistakes of that, you know, we would have made, for instance.
We can and we should, but this is what happens. When we tell them, they hear it, but they're still going to rebel because in their minds they feel they have all the answers at a certain age, but as they mature and they get burnt and hurt, they remember what you said. And then here's what happened. They sit down and they said, wow, so that is why my father or my mother or my aunt or my uncle, that is what they meant. But now they understand it because they're living the experience.
And then they go over the whole thing with
their children.
Experience.
Yes.
Maybe it's just a cycle of life.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much you can do about things like that. Something that just inevitable.
How many times have you heard me say I was a juvenile delinquent? You think I say that because I'm proud of it? I say it because I want people to look at me and realize that you can change. You understand?
Yeah.
You can evolve. Because when I was young, there were those who said to my face, "You're going to die. You're not going to live. But look, you're not even going to live to meet your 20s." They said that to me. I had to look within myself because at that stage I was going through the experimental stage where I was rebelling against everything the elders said, and I was beginning to learn from getting the burns. You understand?
Right.
And I had to look within myself and say, so whose life is this? So who's going to determine how you're going to exist? And I had to come to the conclusion that it was me. Go ahead.
But you know something, and this relates to what you were talking about earlier when the farmer was here.
Yeah.
And Greg was saying that people living longer. That we, when we were in our late teens, early 20s, we looked at somebody who was in their 40s as old.
Yeah. I remember.
And now, you know, when you're way past that, you know, you remember things like that.
Yeah.
So you have to now say, well, the persons in their late teens, early 20s, no. They probably consider themselves invincible.
Yeah, we did.
The last thing on their mind is, I'm going to get old. The world is out. The whole world is out there. The world is mine.
Yeah.
You know. And
well, my two youngest.
They'd be surprised. They'd be surprised at how quickly they advance.
That's it.
In age.
My two youngest.
It just seemed like just the other day you were in school.
Most definitely.
And now you're this age, you know.
Yeah. My two youngest children, they have a way when I speak to them, they look me right in the face and they say, but Dad, you're old, you know. You're old, Dad. They don't say it with any maliciousness, you know.
Yeah,
but it shows you how they feel that they're young and vibrant and they're invincible and you know,
Which is good. It's nice that they have that kind of energy and so on because they generally get things done.
Yeah.
They're faster. They're impatient. And they want things happen.
Yeah.
Right. And less. They might be more prone to mistakes, but at least they're also more prone to change.
Yeah.
You know, and that is good. So there are the pros and cons. To all of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for your input as usual. Yeah. So we'll take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Carifesta is the whole region looking good, and the whole road is rerun with. It's in the way we walk, it's the way we talk, it's the way we move. We ready for the world, and when we step out and pose just so, it's pure style and fashion. Look away! Come for Carifesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/Carifesta.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, and more only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
And welcome back to Voices, where the time is approximately 8 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour. So far, so good. Rather interesting interjections, and I've seen my phone lines lighting up occasionally, but when I press the button, I hear the tone as if though the individual has already hung up. For those of you who may have been trying to get in on one or the other topic, or perhaps you have something to bring to the fore, feel free to do so, as I'm apt to say to this caller, good day.
Friend,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
No. First of all, I'm gonna say, something. What a question was asked of me, so I'm going to answer it. By Johnny. He asked if when I said that these problems that are upon us, they are caused by our disobedience to the Bible. I thought I would have made a claim of speech. I was speaking of all human beings, the whole world. That's why we're in the problems we have in the whole wide world. No matter the color, the people, the reason why we're having these worldwide evils and wickedness and that sort of stuff in all the nations is because of our disobedience to the Bible. I thought I made that clear enough, but in case I did not, that is what I meant.
Sometimes when people ask a question of you, it is rhetorical. It is not always that they're not aware of what your answer will be, but yet still they are inclined to ask, because in the gist of their conversation within their minds, they ask this question knowing what the answer, already knowing what the answer is or will be.
Yes, rhetorical. Yes, no problem with that.
Yes,
no problem. But just in case, let me just clear up that. And yes, the Bible speaks a lot about bloodshed. It is full of bloodshed from Genesis to Revelation, and for different reasons. One, God did use His people and command His people to commit bloodshed to kill people as punishment upon them. Yes, because of their disobedience to the word of God. Also, the Bible also records bloodshed because of man's just evilness and wickedness to men. Men kill one another and that sort of stuff. So, and above all else, it recalls the bloodshed of Jesus Christ, who shed His blood to save His church from their sins and from hell. So yes, true and true, the Bible is filled with accounts of bloodshed, and like I said, for different reasons. But nevertheless, I agree with the Bible that God cannot do wrong. He is always right, and not only that, but He is the creator of us, the clay. He is the potter, and we are the clay, and He can do with us as He see fit, as He like. At one time, He destroyed the whole world, saving 8 people only. So everything is in the hands of God, and He has the right to do whatever He wants to do, to kill us whenever He wants to kill us, to save us whenever He wants to save us. He is the potter. We are His clay. We are all created by Him. He is our creator and maker.
Okay.
So I cannot fault God with anything, and as the Bible says, He is the judge of the whole earth, and He will always do what is right. And He has that prerogative because He is the sovereign creator over all His creation. He's absolutely sovereign over all his creation. He's the only lawgiver and the only lawmaker for us all. And that is why I say, over and over again, all of these man-made so-called laws and constitution, that sort of stuff, are evil, wicked usurpers of the Bible, because only the Bible is such over all of God's creation. His word only. And your Queen, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. To the caller who has been patiently waiting, thanks for your patience. You may go ahead.
Okay, Quinn, good morning again, man. I'm
Good
back
day.
on. Good day. This has been a real mature discussion this morning.
Well, thank you.
From the outset. And yeah, Quinn, I wanted to point to the Aspire program.
Yeah.
My first, as we're talking about the lands all these weeks now, I'm going to point to the Aspire program, right? My question is, where are these, they're targeting investing for the children, right? But where are they investing that money? Into which entities? Into which projects? Where the opportunities lie, where they're investing that money. Or did they just put that money into a bank account?
That is a good question. Perhaps they will. Well, people have been asking that question for some time, and if I can remember properly, the Prime Minister outlined a number of corporations that the money could be invested in. For instance, he spoke about it could be invested in geothermal, it could be invested in desalination, it could be invested in a solar plant. But these are just his speculation up to a point, because we want to see these ventures happening and to hear of actual investment. So you pose a very good question.
That's correct. That is exactly where I'm pointing to. Because the biggest, grandest investment or asset or whatever we can talk about, right, is land, property, right? And if we're going to be dwindling away our property to these foreigners, I would think that we should be making sure our next generation get a piece of the rock. And I'm saying that the real investment for our children should be in these lands. Look at the example that we was talking about with Christoph Harbor, right? If no matter what we want to say about backdoor deals and stuff that have happened in the past, from way back to now, right? We hear when the Prime Minister said that there was at least a 30% interest. So when they went and sold that marina part of it, right? They sold out that 30% interest.
Yeah, and
That
third
means we
and
do not-
30%
That means
and 30% in
Go
a
ahead.
30% in a venture like that is an exorbitant amount. It's a big amount.
it's an amount that it's an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
Man, you know who these guys are targeting? They're targeting the rich and wealthy. These guys will come to the Caribbean on those yachts. Those yachts, those rich millionaires, they will have their helicopters on top of those helipads, on top of their yachts. They don't need to go in and out of our airports. They can fly off and onto their yachts. The yachts, them, when they dock, they're going to be like, they will be like homes. So my problem was with that sold out to Safe Harbors was that we sold out our 30% interest. If the Prime Minister is thinking, and if there's so much talking about this Aspire program and giving that Aspire program so much props, they could have made sure some type of arrangement was made for our children into that same marina.
So for instance, let's use a hypothetical. The Prime Minister's regime could have said, okay, that 30%, we want to convert that to part ownership in this venture and it's going to be an ongoing venture, so that over time that 30% will be giving you back revenue over time. And if, for instance, this venture that you're speaking about, part of it was used to make sure that it was an investment in this marina thing, then when the child reaches about 20, how many years later, right? Whenever that child reaches 18 or whatever time when that child would be able to say, well, let me reap some dividend from this, it could be a reasonable amount of money that they would have acquired from this kind of venture. So I am agreeing with you.
Yes, yes, because what happened, right? We see when we put our money in the banking system, we only gain like 0 point something percent.
Yeah.
Man, the real deal right now is to attach that Aspire program to any project that's coming from here on.
Yes, yes.
This is the point that I want to hammer out to the Prime Minister. The real deal is our lands. And now we are that is happening in Nevis now. We have to make sure it doesn't matter what project is coming. This sustainability bill is targeting foreign direct investment. But when the investment comes, if it go to fruition, we should make sure that our Aspire program is attached to these investments.
Yeah.
We should be negotiating for that from here on. If we done messed up so much and we can't rewind, well, from here on, as I'm talking this morning and they hearing my voice, we got to make sure that that Aspire program is attached to every investment in the federation from here on. They must find a way to make that framework work.
But Burl, that would also take a sort of a different way of thinking from our leadership too, because
yes,
our leaders.
I'm coming with a different approach.
Yeah, our leaders would then have to be thinking in this vein, whereas we hear that our Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, and what else? What is his portfolio? Minister of National Security, Minister of Health, Minister of Finance, those three, right? Our minister, our leader, usually who holds those portfolio, needs to surround himself with certain individuals so that if he's going on a venture, let's say he's the Minister of Health and he's going on a venture external that deals with enhancing and upgrading our health system here, he would have a certain knowledge, but he also takes with him two other individuals who are versed in various aspects of health. You understand? So that whenever he sits in that forum with these
negotiate the meeting.
Yes, they can negotiate from a stance of knowing what you're speaking about. But then when he goes on another venture, let's say he goes to get finances for upgrade or for the development of, let's say what's that water thing called again? Desalination. Let's say he goes and he's trying to negotiate for some venture developing desalination. He does not know about this, so he needs to surround himself with 2 or 3 individuals who are versed in this, and they go and they sit down and they can speak from a vantage point of knowing what they want. But our leaders don't do that. Our leader goes to everything and he's not informed and or au fait to the extent where he can sit down and negotiate, but he does them on his own. And if he takes an entourage, you hear he takes individuals who are not versed in this field. So then they come back and we don't hear anything from it. And if we do hear something from it, it's not to our advantage. It's to the advantage of the investor. So I agree with you. Our leaders need to be thinking in a vein where they're thinking long term and stop just using this word sustainable, because it sounds good, but use it because you really are moving in the vein of sustainability for your people.
I mean, me personally, if I was the prime minister, I won't have all of these advisors. I will have my point man, my point legal man, the AG, and I will have that same financial expertise that you're talking about, and myself. We're looking at legal, health, and the other portfolios the prime minister have, and also the financial person. That's a real rounded trio
Yeah.
in any negotiation concerning the state of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I don't see the need for some of those advisors, especially, the ones that's in retirement age already. They should go home and make the room for qualified, new, primarily younger persons coming back from college. St. Kitts and Nevis, we're so small, right? We can do something different than the rest of the region, the rest of the world, because our lands are going to dwindle away very fast. And when we look at the overall picture of these lands being distributed to foreigners, this 1/6 of Nevis is going to create such of a demand for land on Nevis and in the Federation wider that our local people will not be able to work and accomplish any small plot of land for the family.
Yeah.
And Quinn, lastly, you see these cell phones that we're walking around with, we don't really own them. We are just really paying the bill. So what I'm thinking about St. Kitts and Nevis, the big companies then that come in and get the big acreage of land, they're the ones going to be profiting from these two small island states. Me and you, who got like a little piece in the village, we are not going to be in the profit of anything. We are just going to be paying the taxes. But the big conglomerate that comes in, they're the ones going to be in the thick of things, enjoying the wealth from our own small island state. And I'll leave it there for now, man. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for your input. I was thinking something just. Oh yes, I was thinking about as you were speaking about land. I was thinking about uh, back in time when a particular individual, when he was being accosted from every side about the national debt, and he made the statement, national debt, my so and so. But people tend to only run with that part of the statement. But I could remember when one of the times when he said national debt, my so and so, he also went on to say, but we are land rich. We are land rich. And it is quite rather interesting that a lot of people don't remember that statement, because what that statement said to me when I heard it was that this individual saw the amount of land that was available, and he felt, well, this is well land rich. Within his mind, he felt well land rich. And he did not think in terms of well land rich in terms of using this land wealth or richness for the betterment of his people, but he was thinking in terms of well land rich, and we have something that we can barter. But when you look at this individual and how he has dealt with this land issue, he hasn't even bartered, because barter is to sit down or make an arrangement, negotiate, and come up with something. But we've not been seeing a bartering. We have been seeing more of a giveaway. So I said that to say that there are people who are elected to lead us, and they are well aware of this. They come in one vein and they say, we're small, we don't have enough land. But in their minds, they feel we have enough land, but we have enough land for reasons that will not benefit us as a people, as indigenous people, but land that they can use so that they can use it to get investors to come, and investors will utilize that land for their benefit. And here's what our leaders are looking for. Our leaders, instead of looking at the land in terms of an asset that could bring back big dividends, they're looking at this land being owned by an external force, and they get the residue, they get the residuals, they get the spill off. That is how our leaders have been looking at land. They're looking at, well, we got land, and we can say to a foreigner, well, you can come and we got land, you can do an investment. And when you come and you do an investment, you get all these tax exemptions. And then we now as a country look for the spill-offs. That isn't the way it's supposed to be. If you're going to use land as a negotiating tactic, you're going to say, we have land, and we're saying to you, we want you to bring your expertise to develop this land, that it benefits you and us almost equally. You understand? Not that it benefits you 90% and it benefits us 10%, and the 10% benefit that we get from it doesn't even go down to the, which is bad enough already, but it doesn't even, that 10% doesn't even go to the resources of the country. It goes into my pocket, his pocket, her pocket, people in that high. No, no, no. Our leaders can't be thinking like that. This is the way they have been thinking up to this point, especially the recent ones. But they have to move away from that way of thinking. That is why I asked the question some time ago. Well, recently, I asked an individual who is high up in the PAM party, and I specifically asked him because I know he is associated with the PAM party, and he would be in the know. And I asked him, I said, do you think that your leader, just because she's a female, because I know that on a intellectual level, female are the same as male. We all have that thinking capacity. But I asked, do you think that she will be able to sit down in a forum and negotiate? And he said yes. Whether or not that is the case, that will be left to be seen. But I asked the question because I wanted to put it on the table, and I want that leader and the people involved in that party and any other party to be looking at this before it happens. Don't wait until you're in a forum and you have to negotiate to start thinking about negotiation. Think about it long before you get there. How am I going to do this? What is going to be my mindset? What is going to be my physical and mental faculty in terms of how I'm going to deal with this issue?
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, and more only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
And I'm back with you, and we're just a little past halfway into the second hour of Voices. The time is approximately 11:31 and counting. And yes, we're back to Voices, and as I've said before, you can call in and you can bring something to the fore, something that has not been discussed up to this point, or you can continue in the vein of our discussion so far. It is all up to you. If you bring something to the table that I'm not au fait with, I will listen and see if I can learn something. If you bring something to the table in which I can interject and we can have a conversation, then I will do so. So feel free to give a call. Right now, I'm going to play, I have two clips lined up. I'm going to play first this one, and I'm going to follow it up with one that is linked to the first one to some extent. But listen to this one.
What's really stopping Africa and the Caribbean from building direct trade? Why hasn't this connection happened yet? It's not because there's no interest, it's not because there's no demand, and it's not because there's no need. The real problem is structural, it's political, and yes, it's historical. Let's break it down. Number one, there are no direct shipping or air routes. That's the most basic issue. If you want to send goods from Accra to Kingston or from Lagos to Bridgetown, guess where they go first? Through Europe, through Miami, through London. The same colonial trade routes that were designed centuries ago to move goods through imperial centers are still controlling how we trade today. Secondly, there are no trade agreements between the regions. As of now, Africa or the African Union and CARICOM don't have a formal free trade agreement. So if a Jamaican company wants to import cocoa from Ghana or a Nigerian firm wants to export cassava flour to St. Lucia, they're paying steep tariffs, sometimes as high as 28%. That kind of friction kills deals before they even begin. And without legal frameworks or dispute resolution mechanisms, businesses simply don't want to take the risk. Thirdly, there is no market intelligence. Businesses on both sides have no idea what the other side is producing, importing, or needing. Ask a manufacturer in Kenya about export opportunities in Grenada, and they'll probably shrug. There's no data, no networks, no trade fairs, and no business missions. And my people, that's a great business opportunity for someone. Number four, colonial era trade habits still rule the day. Let's be honest, the systems we're using today were designed by empires, not for us, but for them. Goods from Africa went to Europe. Goods from the Caribbean went to Europe. No one thought about Africa and the Caribbean trading with each other, right? And that logic still shows up in everything today, from shipping routes to supply chain financing to what's stocked in the supermarket aisle. And unless it's challenged deliberately, it continues by default. And all of this feeds into a vicious cycle. Low trade means no routes. No routes mean high costs. And high costs mean even lower trade. It's a cycle. So the bridge doesn't get built, not because it can't be, but because the system is rigged to make it look too expensive to try. But here's the good news. There's nothing inherently stopping these regions from trading. It's not geography, it's not culture, it's inertia. And that can be changed.
Yeah, it's not geography, it's not culture, it's inertia. And definitely that can be changed. I remember way back when I used to hear people say, I traveled to Antigua, I traveled to Barbados, I traveled to the Virgin Islands, I traveled to the British Virgin Islands, the US Virgin Islands, I traveled to Trinidad and Tobago, I traveled to the Grenadines. And as time went on, you heard less and less of that. And then it just died away. That interregional travel that used to take place just came to a halt. Why? Because somehow our leaders allow themselves to be brainwashed by external forces into putting tariffs. You hear the word tariffs and you think tariffs is a new thing. Tariffs have been used on oppressed people ever since they decided that they were going to allow you to be independent. It is like from the day they said that there was a slave emancipation and you were free, they made sure that you were free but you didn't have a job. They would not hire you. You were free. They made sure that you were free but you didn't have a job. They would not hire you. They allowed you to reach a state of degradation mentally and physically and otherwise, to the point where, and then because you were desperately, they, so slavery was still going on even after the emancipation. And this is what has been allowed to continue the mental slavery of our people. Good day.
The Quintet just called to ask how to find that video on YouTube. Okay, thanks.
Well, I can't tell you that because I'm not one who usually goes and spends hours and so forth. But what I do is when I have a little leisure time, perhaps usually after working in the day, I sit down in front of my computer and I simply peruse. I know what I'm looking for and I read the captions, and if a caption reads in the vein of what I'm looking for, I play it. And oftentimes I don't have to play the whole clip because from it starts to play into a little bit into it, I know, well, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and then I jump forward maybe about to the middle, and to make sure, to ensure that the conversation still travels in that vein, and I say okay, and I download it. That's what I do. Understand? So that's all I can say to you. Go and peruse, knowing what you're looking for with an open mind. You're looking for educational content. Sometimes I look for a humor, which you're going to hear some occasionally. But when I look for humor, it isn't vulgar humor. It is humor that I feel is sort of a family oriented, and it's something that I can use in the future to sort of bring a light moment or two. Yeah, so that is what I do. So having played that clip, let me play another. Now this other one goes back to, it is linked to what the prior narrator was saying, but it shows you where this practice is still ongoing, because the prior narrator was saying, look, there isn't trade between Africa and the Caribbean, not because it can't happen, it is because you're not making an asserted effort to ensure that it happens. And why it doesn't happen is because of the fact that our leaders who come from us, so that means that their mindset, the way they think, to a large extent is the way perhaps a majority of us think. Our leaders still are in the mindset that they should be controlled by external forces. They accommodate external forces dictating what we should do as a people and how we should venture forward, as opposed to saying we are going to chart our own course. And if we sit down with you as an external body, we're going to say to you, okay, what can you say to us that will interest me? You see, that is the angle we take. You know, we go to them and they say, what can you offer us? And they say, they turn it back at us and they say, well, what can you offer us? And we who have nothing begins a negotiation by letting them know what we can offer them, as opposed to saying, no. I remember that story I heard of Bratcher, who was asked by a foreign investor from Canada, well, we're helping you, we're assisting you with so many different things and so many various aspects. So the least I think you can do is lower your price for the sugar that we're buying from you. And Bratcher said, well, look, I'm the one who's seeking your assistance. I'm the one who needs the help. If you're giving me assistance, are you giving it to me wholeheartedly with good intentions, or are you giving it to me with the intention of getting from me when I am the one who is really in need. And the external individual sort of said, well, okay, I hear you. I hear where you're coming from. And so we didn't have a downgrading at that time from that particular foreign entity in terms of our trade with them and sugar. And that is what our present day leaders have to do. Go and say, look, I am a little country in the Caribbean. We have certain things that we feel can be beneficial to you. What can you offer us? Tell us what you can offer us that will be beneficial to us and to you. And then sit down and hear what they're saying. But don't do this yourself as a leader when you're not au fait with what they're saying. Carry people with you who will be able to listen to what they say, analyze what they say, and see if it makes sense. And then you say, well, okay, this is what we're going to do. I hear what you say. This is what you propose. I think we can accept that. So when do we start? And when I say when do we start, I don't mean they're going to come and you're just going to say, well, you're going to come and you're going to bring your foreign investment and we're going to give you lands. No, we're going to do it like the way it was done on the industrial site. You're going to come, we're going to give you a shell, we're going to give you a piece of land that you can lease, and you can bring what you bring, and you can put down what you put, and you can make money off of it. You can employ our people, but you must not be the only one who benefits here. Something must come to our people by way of jobs, by the way of salary that they're going to get, by the way of over a sustainable period, over the long term. When we look back, we can say, this is a venture we went into and this is what we garnered from it. Not this is a venture we went into. How many things have you seen come to our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's here and then it's gone? And we can't see anything that spill off of it that is beneficial and ongoing. No, we don't want that. So I'm going to play for you this clip. It is about 8 minutes long, and I want you to listen to it keenly. Right? This is the First Lady of Sierra Leone, and she's speaking about what is happening today, particularly in Africa, in relation to foreign entities and what their expectations are in relation to, remember, Africa has a lot of resources and that kind of stuff. So listen to this clip.
Listen up, Africa. The First Lady of Sierra Leone, Fatima Madabayo, dropped some truth in an interview with Harvard. She ripped the lid off how the West and even the UN are playing us for fools when it comes to our minerals and our leaders. She outrightly explained how those who often try to stand up for their people often become hot targets. But here's the kicker. Her words aren't just about exposing the problem. They're about igniting a fire in your belly. If you're tired of seeing Africa get screwed over, this is your fuel. Get ready to feel that African pride roar back to life, because liberation isn't just a dream, it's within reach.
And I pause it there because I want to interject. Even though this clip is speaking specifically to Africa, I want you to broaden it and think, listen, Caribbean, you may not have the resources in terms of mineral wealth, well, some of us have, but you may not have all of the resources. But you do have a resource. You have people. People are the main resource that we have in this Caribbean region. And then we have something they want. We have sea, sun, land. We have land that they can use for various things, whether it be hotel, whether it be some sort of business entity that is going to do, let's say, like the industrial site when we had businesses that came in and did shoe making, clothes making, whatever. We can offer you a place in the region, and we can offer you people in the region along with whatever tax exemption we're going to give you for a given period. But we want it to be beneficial to not only you, in terms of advancing your business, broadening your business ventures. We want it also to be beneficial to our people so that our people can take the finances they garner from being employed by you to put it into maybe buying a piece of land, making sure that their children can get better education and a better life. So I'm going to continue.
And we're taking it. This is Uplifting Africa.
The kind of mineral resources we have in our country is enough to take care of everybody in that country. We should not have a single poor person in Sierra Leone. But unfortunately, we are not given the free will to make decisions on our own mineral resources. There's always Big Brother who decides. And when you fight and say, no, we are not going to do this, they use the system to stop you. It's either they set you up with the opposition and they'll be supporting the opposition against you from the back, or they cause unnecessary chaos in your country so that you are not able to even govern your own people. They will do things to make you not to be functionable. And of course, any country that don't have peace cannot develop. You have to have peace before you talk about development. I'll give you a simple example about Sierra Leone. Every mining company that is in Sierra Leone today is owned by a foreigner. Every mining company. If it's not the Chinese, it's the American, it's the British. Our electricity, Bumuda, is run by the British, and we still don't have light. We're looking for light, electricity. If you don't have electricity, how can you talk about education? How can you talk about health facility? How can you talk about improving the infrastructure of your country? We don't have electricity. Now, do we actually even have proper water, pipe-borne water, so that our kids will not be sick? We don't have those facilities. Why? With all the minerals we have, before my husband became the president of Sierra Leone was benefiting 0.000.1%. What is that? Basically, a company can take as much as $100 million out of the country in terms of minerals, and then they can just give the country $10,000. Now, what will $10,000 do for our health system? What does $10,000 do for our educational system? You cannot be coming to our country and take everything that will make us develop, and then you still treat us as inferior people, as if we don't know what we're doing. I think that is wrong. And these are the things I believe that are stopping Africa from progressing. We don't have a say. The sense about us celebrating independence, I don't know why we celebrate independence, because we are not free. That is my own take. I'm not speaking also on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, nor am I speaking on behalf of His Excellency the President. I am speaking as Fatima, as a citizen of a country who believes that things need to change. In Africa, you should not have a leader that is assertive, a leader that knows what his people want, a leader that wants to change what is happening. The moment you have that, it's everyone's target. And then they find reason to slow you down, they find reason to stop you, and they use that system of corruption. They use corrupt people, they use negative people, they use unpatriotic citizens to come after a government who is doing what is right for a system. I think we need to address those issues. I'm very good at name calling, but at the moment I don't know who I should be screaming at. One of the most serious issues I have with the United Nations is the fact that Africa is not part of the Security Council. We're talking about 54 countries, I'm sorry. 54 countries, a whole continent does not have one person representing Africa when it comes to decision making at the Security Council.
And I'd observe also that no African country has its own executive director at the World Bank either.
No, unfortunately,
yes.
We don't know how to manage money.
I think I'll have to disagree with you.
And what do you want me to say? Because if that is the perception since the beginning of, every time an African come forward for something, that they have to be a decision maker for the world, not just Africa. It's just not possible.
I understand.
So what can I say? There must be a prescription somewhere that says, Africa, you are not good enough.
Well, it might be revolutionary, but I'm going to say it right here. Africans should be in charge of Africa.
I believe that also that Africans' issue can only be enhanced when Africans decide to do that. They should not allow another person to give them a prescription of how Africa should look like or what we need in our Africa, because we know what we need in our Africa. No one will know that better than us. And I think the UN should see Africa as partners. And the United Nations, definitely, you cannot have 7 countries vetoing everything. When it comes to Africa issue, it is those 7 countries. Who are the countries that are actually exploiting Africa? They're the ones who have the veto power to make decision on anything that has to do with Africa. So for me, I think that is wrong. And that is one thing the president of Sierra Leone has campaigned for. And this year, Sierra Leone is now a non-permanent member at the United Nations. But yet still, we don't have a veto power. But we're there. At least we are getting closer. And in these 2 years, our mission is to get the United Nations to see Africa not as one country. Because that's the mistake they do. When you say I'm from Africa, they say, oh, you're from Nigeria. I said, no, Nigeria is one country in Africa. We have 54 countries in Africa. So see us as a continent that also, what we offer to the world, Europe does not have it. What Africa gives to the world, Europe don't have it, America don't have it, Asia don't have it. Because we are not mining in China, we are not doing any mining in America or mining in Europe. But they're doing it in every part of Africa. Not just Sierra Leone, go to Democratic Republic of Congo, go to Botswana, go to Angola, go everywhere there is mineral resources. It is the West and the Chinese who are there. When you come to Africa, ask me what is it that I want. If you ask me what food do you want to eat, I'll tell you I want to eat rice. But then if you come to Africa and bring me spaghetti and said, I want you to eat spaghetti, that you are imposing on me. With everything that we have in Africa, for all the people or all the organizations or all the companies that are coming to take from us, for once, see us as partners. For once, treat us with respect. And then help us develop. Because when we're developed, doesn't mean you will not do your mining. It just means you'll be changing lives and changing lives in a positive way. So by depriving us that development, by depriving us that opportunity for us to be able to be self-sufficient, for me, that is what is wrong. And that is why I am not able to stay silent.
And so to Mr. Warner, when we were speaking before and we were speaking about, is there hope for the young people? That is a young woman, the wife of a leader in Sierra Leone, and a very bold woman because she's bold enough as the first lady of a country to make those statements. Don't come and impose yourself on us. And I played this and I paused because I want us to look at this from a Caribbean perspective. The narrative might be coming from an individual who resides in Africa, but the narrative should be the same for us in this region. Don't impose on us. Let me tell you what I need you to do that could better all of us. Don't just come with your agenda that fits your purpose and it doesn't benefit us. You heard the part where she said, if you empower us, that doesn't mean that you won't be doing your mining. But what it means is that you will be able to pay a fair price so that we can live better and you can continue living as the way you're living? Why is it that these filthy rich countries all over the world are still digging out the eyes of the very people that they depend on? They depend on Africa for everything, but yet still have no respect for African people. They will rather, when they come into your region and they see what you have, miraculously some kind of disease like polio or something just comes out of nowhere. AIDS just comes out of nowhere and it starts killing people. And all of the medias around the world spotlight and look at this. People are dying of AIDS. People are dying of polio. And while you're doing that, they're raping the very same people. But the spotlight is on, look how poor they are, look how destitute they are, subjected to diseases, and so on and so forth, while you're raping them. Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Yes, Quint, last contribution, man, before you get off. I'm going straight back to the Prime Minister again. The Nigerian flight that he brought across the Atlantic, I just need to tell him definitely that free trade and travel going between us and the continent of Africa. We need to not link with Nigeria as he did with that flight, but don't forget Ghana as well. I'm a proponent of Ghana at this point in my life. And tourism-wise, we need to get that flight to come into St. Kitts and Nevis once a month to start out at least, and then we can see where it goes from there. Ghana and Nigeria. Free trade and travel is necessary. And with that, we need not be scared of any African coming over and staying over in our federation, because just the same, we can go over to Ghana and Nigeria and stay over there interchangeably. So all that he will have to do after this free trade and travel is put into place is to craft and upgrade our immigration policy. And I'll leave that here for today, and I want to say thanks a lot for hearing me.
Okay, and to the caller who has been waiting, thanks for your patience. We're just about to the end, but I'll let you elaborate. Do not feel rushed. If you have something to say, go ahead and say it.
Quint, I'm sorry to call in again, but what you play was very interesting. The lady really and truly amazed me, because something I expected to say, she didn't say. Even though she's a free market capitalist like me, nevertheless, even ignoring that, some things I expected to say that she didn't say. Number one, she talk about people them coming over and dictating to you, and you asking them to respect you and that sort of stuff.
Remember, before you go on, this is a country that is still under the I don't even know what word I want to think, but still a country that is governed by France. Okay, so go ahead.
So they're not independent of France?
No. If you think they were independent, you would be saying that?
Well, to be quite honest, I know a lot of African countries just as good as if they were still independent.
Yes, you're right, but this is not a case. This is where, and this is what France has been doing. They come into your country, they take out your wealth, they're living under high fat, and then even your money, they downgrade it so that everything is minimal from your end and maximum from there. And you hear how much they were making? 0.000.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I thought that they were independent. But that means the main thing she needs to be speaking about, and the main thing they need to be pushing, is independence. And then if you got to do what Chore did, then do it.
Well, yes, I agree with you.
But I thought they were, from how she's speaking, I thought they were independent.
And I'm glad you made that last statement, because when you play clips like these, you understand why people like Chore, the leader of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, why they did what they did, because they also were under France.
If you gotta kick them out, you gotta kick them out.
Yeah.
But I thought they were independent So that I was saying, well then I thought I was saying, well then, okay, since you're independent nation, well, just make sure your people them own the mine, own the land, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it looked to me like she ain't pushing independence.
I think that's what they're pushing, but you know, look, a lot of those countries under France have been trying to get independence, and for whatever reason, France is, I don't know. I don't know how that aspect of things work. It seems to me the only way out is to just overthrow, because remember.
But yeah, if you got to do that, you got to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems as if that's.
I thought that is what already happened.
No.
Yeah, I was at least if she I would expect her to say the first thing she should have been happy now speaking towards it. Hey, we got to get independent.
But look at us. But look at Saint Kitts Nevis. We're independent, but yet still by way of Christophe Harbour. Who has benefited? You want to tell me that all those years that Christophe Harbour have been there, they have not benefited? Yeah, they put it on the books, and we hear that they're not making any money, and they run to us, and we bail them out. But if you follow over the years and you realize certain names associated with that same Christophe Harbour, they're rated among some of the richest people. They have big yachts and big this and all that kind of stuff. So how is it that they're living on the high fat, but yet still they're not making that kind of input in that region to the point where it can be advanced? They're depending on you. They're so rich, mind you. So rich. You hear about them, you read about them here and there and how their lavish lifestyle, but yet still when they're going through some kind of problem, they turn to us to bail them out, and our leaders accommodate it. So as you said, there are some countries that are independent, and it might as well they weren't independent.
Right. Because if you also look at the African leaders, and even though the country, quote unquote, is so poor, quote unquote, the leaders them are so rich.
That's it.
And you also go with our Caribbean leaders too.
That's it.
And well, like the Bible says, bribes blinds the eyes. Bribe blinds the eyes, and therefore, when the question is asked, well, how come you people are doing so bad, but you live in so high and so rich? How come you're making these dirty, corrupt deals and this all stuff? All that comes to my mind is that, hey, the Bible says, a bribe blinds our eyes, a bribe blinds even the eyes of the wise.
Yeah.
You know, so, hey, corruption does what corruption does.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that's how we're going to bring an end to Two Voices for today. It has been a pleasure, good discussion. Thank you for your indulgence, because you're who makes it flow. Once you interject and we interact and you bring your perspective, whether it be something I'm aligned with or something I've perhaps never really visualized, and you bring it to the fore, and I can now scrutinize it and analyze it and see where we go from there. So, again, thanks for your indulgence. Do take care, and not only have a great day, but a great life.